Welcome to the Deck Specialist Podcast for builders, designers, and deck pros pushing the limits of outdoor living. Get insider insights, advanced techniques, and strategies to grow your craft and your business. Because great decks build more than homes, they build reputations and memories. Get ready for something special, the Deck Specialist Podcast.
Welcome to the Deck Specialist Podcast, the show from Deck Specialist magazine where we talk with the pros who are redefining outdoor living, one project at a time. Your host today is Sarah Graves, managing editor of Deck Specialist magazine. Today, we're joined by a builder who brings serious craftsmanship, creativity, and storytelling to outdoor spaces in the upper Midwest. Dan Pettit, owner of Northern Outdoor Living, is based in Hastings, Minnesota. Known for high detail work, a collaborative spirit, and his ability to turn deck design into an art form, Dan is raising the bar on what's possible in outdoor living. We'll talk about how he got started, his design philosophy, his current job site, and how he's building lasting industry connections through events like the International Builders Show. Be sure to subscribe. We're just getting started.
Okay. Hi, Dan. It's really good to see you again. We've worked on several stories in the past, and including your Hastings project, which was a very personal project for you. And we talked about the deck that you built for Millboard. So we showcased that in the magazine. So we're on site with you again at a new project. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So thanks for having me. I'm like I say, I'm really honored to be a part of the podcast with you guys, and I appreciate you inviting me on. So yeah, we're on a current job of mine, kind of on the tail end of it, where we're gonna be putting on the icing, really.
All right. Are we in Hastings, Minnesota as well?
Yeah, we're in Hastings, Minnesota. 50% chance we're gonna get dumped on, but I think the clouds are rolling by, so I think we'll be good for the on-site visit here.
We might just be running under shelter sometime, right?
No, I think we're good. But it's a little scary looking.
Okay, well, I mean, if I hear crash or lightning or something, we'll be sure to cut.
We can edit.
Well, I want to know how did Northern Outdoor Living get started, and how has your focus shifted these days from your early start?
Sure. Well, I'll give you the short version. You can ask me to expand anywhere you see fit to. I started in 2018. It was Pettit Construction and Remodel, and the more I got going, the more I realized that my skill or my strong suit was actually in the field working, because I'm a carpenter by trade, not necessarily managing painters and drywallers and tapers and electricians and all that. Right? There is a little bit of that on these projects, but it's mainly an electrician, maybe some plumbing. But as I was saying, I kind of figured out that my strong suit was being on the job and me doing a lot of the work. I could really set my own standards. So I had just a natural affinity for outside work, the outdoor living stuff. And I believe in, maybe late 2019, I had done a handful of decks, but I really wanted to be someone who just did outdoor living decks, spaces like that. And so it was kind of a perfect storm for someone trying to do that going into 2020, where I was already booked out doing that kind of work going into 2020. But I didn't, there was a little trepidation because I had just taken the plunge and said, I'm not taking any more kitchens or baths or anything. And then, of course, COVID came along, and for a minute there, I thought, like, well, I'm not going to be working at all. But as we all know, it was kind of a shot in the arm to have a full-fledged swinging outdoor living business at that point. So
So
And that's
COVID
what
didn't affect you badly?
no, not with the business, right? Um, it really pumped it up. Everyone was wanting their outdoor spaces for their kids to do out at home schooling or work from home offices. They wanted to have a living room, kind of a quote living room outside where they could drink the coffee and do their computer work, and that led to a lot of demand for for exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay. And looking back, is there a specific project that kind of led you on this trajectory towards these backdrops that you're creating with the steel and the fiber optic lighting that you're now known for?
Um, well, I think the first project that was really big for me was I call it the lab, and if you search the lab under any Northern Outdoor Living YouTube page, you'll see a 30-second video of that, and that was a pretty big project with two under rooms. We had a big steel beam in there because we kept a 22 by 22 under deck room, wide open with no posts. We did a lot of we closed it in with some sun space windows, which are like a polyvinyl window sash that you can lift up and down, um, and we had glass rails on the whole thing, and that was that was where I got to really get beyond building a quote regular deck, and all of the engineering on my part, the math of getting the frameless glass rails where they needed to be, the rooms underneath, the ceilings, the windows, all of that was really invigorating to kind of put that whole thing together and get creative with that. So that kind of opened the door, in my opinion, for me to give myself permission to start exploring what I could do in that realm, other than just, like I said, other than a traditional, regular deck, which is fine. A lot of people want those. There's big demand for that. But yeah, something about that creativity, that unleashing the creativity on stuff like that. So that was right before the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life was the first fiber optic project I did. That had a couple of renditions in the planning stages. I think I was going to I wanted to do like an inlay on the ground and then have lights kind of shining up, and it'd be kind of like an image they could look at out of their window. But it transformed and it evolved to being that big privacy wall, which is better in my opinion. And I just had the idea to light up to give some dimension to kind of a wall, and that's what came out of it. And then it was kind of a magic time where there's a couple other people that were really interested in doing something different and special, and like Split Rock was the next one, and that was a client that just is a huge Minnesota nut lover. He loves Minnesota. He's loved a couple different locations that kind of that felt special to him, and Split Rock was where we kind of decided that was a great one to emulate, so to speak. And so I found a photograph that was a silhouette foreground of the two bluffs coming down with the Split Rock Lighthouse, and then the Lake Superior in the back. And we made that starscape, and that led to just kind of a tradition of doing Minnesota places, doing starscapes or scenes, silhouetted scenes. And every time I did another one, I wanted to take what I had done and go, all right, now that's in the bag. Now what's what's something different we could do? Have I not seen before, right? So trying to just create dimension, trying to create like a presence, a feeling of something happening. Even if you're all by yourself, you're still in the middle of something with something around you, you know? And we get the twinkling stars, and we get some water. We get a couple different dimensions, standoffs. It just feels like, another place or a little escape. People can go hang out whenever they need to on their own land,
Well,
That was a short one.
let me ask you, we're looking behind you, and we're seeing the current project. Any way you could walk us around and showcase kind of what you're working on right now?
Yeah.
And give us an idea of how this project is shaping up. What kind of decking are we looking at right there?
Sure. So this is Everlast. This is the Apex Plus. And
What colors are those?
that is Alaskan Driftwood. That's the lighter one, Alaskan Driftwood. That's a 7.5. And then we have carbonized Osage. And we're back to 5.5-inch Alaskan Driftwood. And those are the only two colors we have on the project. And we did just a double border with a 7.5 outer and a 5.5 inner darker. It's kind of a low deck, so I really wanted to hide all the framing. I'll just kind of zoom out here, and you can see when I'm all said and done, after I put trim pieces on to cover up some of these step parts, I'll be running a bunch of lights. So those are going to be, the trim pieces are going to double as termination points. So no one will be the wiser when you're looking at the deck. But we just coming over here, putting everything in. We did try something new. I don't know if you can see this. We did just little fold-over returns for the end of the deck tread, as opposed to painting them or doing a mitered return. We just did a fold-over. Let's see if you can see.
Yeah, you can
right
see
there.
like
Right.
a bullnose kind of.
Yeah, and we did that on all of them.
Just kind of
Okay.
capped it in a nice way.
Well, yeah, people are doing a waterfall thing where they take the V-bit in the router, and that's exactly what we did. And then it's a super teeny waterfall is what it is, three-quarter waterfall. Just the thickness of the board. And then here's kind of the last thing. So this is some PVC lattice material, and it's by a Curio. I had them custom make me these pieces that fit right in this 12-inch or 11.5-inch spot, and you can see
Oh yeah.
the lattice. I'm just using these grooves to go in there, right? So I'll pop the last one in. So I'm going to go. I'm going to push it up. I'm going to do this with one hand here. Okay, so the top is in. And then if you look at the bottom, it's got a little flex to it.
Kind of just snaps in.
Yeah, just snap that in. It's just kind of something I just kind of figured I wanted to do.
Now, on other projects, you use like a steel backdrop. Is that also going to be attached to this, or is it going to be a little bit of a different type of project?
No, so yeah, it's a different project for sure, right? So I'll be backlighting up and, sorry, it was my hand. Up and down, I'll be running a Inlight EvoFlex strip. So that's going to shine up. This is going to shine down. That's going to illuminate the recessed portion behind the lattice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can make that kind of any color glow I want with a phone app. And then I'm going to pepper that with my fiber optic technique. And so we can kind of use a couple different combinations of having some swirly, twinkly stuff. You can have it one color. You could kind of swirl it through the color spectrum. But it's just an accent band, right? I've never really done that. And so that'll be a little light up feature. Then we're going to have some lights, wall fixtures, creating some little bit of light art on the main part of the wall.
You said light fixtures. What do you mean, light fixtures?
We're going to use, Enlight has these things called an ace up, down. And so they're sconce. I'll be getting a little wind, sorry about that. I'll be putting them in different locations with some shutters on them. And we're going to be able to kind of create a bunch of different light art, really, depending on how we aim the shutters. So it's really up to the homeowner to position those shutters. You know, they could do them different every day. We just manually kind of move the shutters, and we'll have different light rays going all over the place.
Now, what other lighting do you have for the rest of the outdoor space?
Sure. So underneath all the picture frame of the upper deck and the lower deck, and then underneath all the treads of the stairs, we're going to have continuous Enlight EvoFlex.
Okay.
And that'll just give we already have a lot of horizontal kind of aesthetic going on. We're just going to kind of give a nice horizontal. We're going to add to it with that light, and just, I think it's going to be really sharp.
And what is the size of the space that you're working in approximately there?
Tell me that again.
What is the size of the deck space that you're working in there approximately?
I'd say it's about 25 or 30 feet across. That accent wall, or that feature wall, is 17 feet. This lower deck is about 20 feet. This lower deck's about 20 feet. Those stairs are 6 feet, you know.
Okay.
And then we do have a pool. This is going to get opened up in the summer, and everyone's going to have a good time. This is going to be a party deck, I think.
Did you have anything to do with the pool, or was it already installed?
No, the pool's already there.
Oh, okay. So you're just adding to the environment.
Yeah.
You're just adding to the environment then.
Right.
Okay. Now, what was the vision of the homeowner in when you started this project?
Well, they have some kids, and they like to have people over for just family events and friends and all that. So behind that wall is the road. So kind of made a little private from the road, where they have their own space to do those hangouts. Directly ahead of me, we have a bunch of small trees and bushes. So this feature wall kind of finishes a little bit of a privacy area, so they can have their own space and not feel like they're being watched or intruding on neighbors too much. So that's really what they wanted. They wanted a space to just kind of relax in and not worry about people peeping in or whatever, you know.
Do they do
feeling
much
like they're watched.
entertaining during the
I
summer
think it's just
months?
I think it's family stuff. A lot of entertaining, you know. Kids are at that age where they get a pool. It's fun to have people over, get swimming, and I think the features on the deck are just going to make it, just going to add to that kind of environment where it feels like a real fun time, you know.
Well, tell me about the material selection. Why did you opt for those particular materials, and you know, any challenges that you faced during the construction of the project?
So we're talking about like materials like the decking.
Yeah, decking and the privacy wall per se. You
Sure.
know, the
Well, the
inlay.
deck. All right. Well, so the decking came because I had just this late February went to IBS and with Kevin Chiquette and helped out building or putting together the Everlast booth. I had no design in that at all. That was all on Kevin's end, and it was done beautifully. And I was going out there to do a creative lighting seminar, and so we were talking, and we thought, well, I could just stay there and help out because I'd done a couple of trade shows before where I built some bigger booths, and it thought it'd be a good addition. So I had that history with Everlast, and I really wanted to check it out because I got to use it a little bit, but it was building what was already planned out. So now I'm using it on one of my designs, which that's the only way to do it is kind of get your own hands on there and mess with it yourself to really see the see the possibilities of the product.
Any
So that's what.
challenges or things you've learned along the way using it?
Um, well, I am not used to. It's not a big thing for anyone who works with like AZEK or anything, but I'm just not used to PVC. Um, I've been using a lot of mineral-based boards, so these are the screws going a little different, and when we're doing any back routering, it's not really harder, but it's a little different, which was fine. It was a lot easier actually to work with than some of the other stuff I've been
Now
using, just because it's so light.
you used to Inlight at IBS this year, so you are familiar with how it works. And is that one of the reasons why you opted to use it in this project as well?
Well, I've been using Enlight for a couple of years now. I didn't really have a lighting system I liked or a lighting system that was my go-to until I got to see them at a deck expo, I believe, in 22. And it looked super hardy, and it just looked like it could do the things I was needing it to do. So I've been using that in conjunction with my fiber optic light engines pretty exclusively. You know, I, I I I trust the product. I like it. It's easy to work with. So good support team. So it's once you find something that's easy and trustworthy, I just stick with it.
Well, at IBS, you had mentioned that you kind of came on to that collaboration with Kevin, and that you really didn't work on the design. Now, there was a large metal backdrop of a African savanna. Did you have anything to do with the creation of that part of
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So that came about because I had an itch to kind of explain some of that process a little bit more in depth than what I was able to just on the socials, kind of minimally. And I contacted Kevin. I told him that I thought doing a little seminar would be pretty sweet, and I knew that he might have an idea of a format or how to get that going. And IBS is what we came up with, doing it there. And so the creative lighting kind of worked out really good because Inlight was joining the booth with Everlast. And so we made that mural, which was, you're right, so it's a South African scene because Everlast has its origins in South Africa. And when I'm doing these kind of light up starscapes, I'm trying to make it mean something to someone, and it's usually the one who's going to be enjoying it and paying for it. So I wanted to give them that backdrop, and it was a perfect opportunity to make a huge sunset scene, which didn't really get to explore too much. I've done a smaller one in the past on the Witch Tree project, but we did a big 8-inch inlight wall disc and put that behind. And again, that was a HDPE cutout. So it wasn't, I haven't been using metal for quite a while. But that was an HDPE cutout, and we had the big disc back in the backdrop. It could be a moon, it could be a sun, whatever, whatever we wanted. And we could kind of control what people were going to think about it by changing the tones. And what I had to come up with was I really wanted to get light blending happening. Where if you look at a sunset, it's like really dark red at the bottom, moves up to orange, and kind of a yellow pink fades in the sky. And and I can send a picture of this little widget that I kind of thought up, and then person that I know has a 3D printer. We drew it up on his CAD machine, and he printed a couple out. And basically, there's these little parts of a sprocket that hold the light track at different degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one light track, things inch away from the wall, and in behind the Savannah or the South African silhouette, it was in between the silhouette and the wall, so you couldn't see the light source. And so I had one EvoFlex strip going at like maybe 15 degrees. And then I had one tilted up at like 38, I believe. And then I had one at about 78. And I could control each one of those different colors and the intensity. And you could make, well, I ended up making a lot of really cool looking scenes where it just blended from dark to light or anything I really wanted. And we did some blue, green, purple, kind of color schemes together. I did a whole bunch, and I think it's up on my Instagram, where it shows probably 5 or 6 or 7 different blends. And so it really looked like a major sunset or a moonset. And then we had the stars twinkling again in the background. So
this artistry, is this something that that you were already familiar with? I mean, obviously you're describing a gradient there of color and in that blend. So is that, is art something as part of your background?
Well, I've been a musician like ever since I think 11. I started playing music, and when I was 15, I grew up in Iowa. I started playing bars on the weekend with a bunch of 30, 40-year-old dudes, and I was doing that all through high school. And then I came up and went to a music tech school in Minneapolis here. And so music's always been a big thing for me. And I think that's where the creativeness is coming out here. So that's my background. I never did drawing or sketching or painting. Nothing like that per se. It's just like being creative.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your team members, about who helped you with the project that we're looking at today.
Yeah. So this one and the Spiral project and the Witch Tree project, I had a guy named Colin that I've known for, I'd probably say 20 to 25 years. I've known this guy. He's a fantastic, excellent craftsman. And he's the only person that I have right now. And he's a 1099 guy. I don't have any employees right now. I'm liking the situation that we have where I have Colin about 75% of the year, which it works out really good for both of us. He does other things. He's a fantastic stair builder. He kind of specializes in interior stairs, curves, banisters, fine wood furniture, kind of like that. So he's got a really great eye for detail, and we both kind of cut our teeth in the same company coming up. It was a high-end custom new build or renovation company, depending on what the client wanted. But this was all pre-2008, and people were spending a lot of money on really precise things back then, and that's where we kind of learned to hone our craft. So I really trust him, and he does great work. So
How was he involved in some of your previous projects, such as your Hastings project with the Hastings Bridge and the Vermilion Falls, and
yeah,
how the creation of that backdrop? Now, who created that? Was that a joint venture, or how did that come about?
no, all the designs are mine. They're ruminating in my head and being kicked around. Like that spiral project was probably a year in development, where what was built and what is shown today. The original concept was much different for the yard layout and all that. But no, the designs are mine. It's just something I do, and I get a lot of pleasure in that.
And
And
how
that
do
part
you
of the whole
fabricate
design.
that?
Say again?
How is that fabricated?
Ask me what part you're talking about.
The actual backdrops that you create, how are they fabricated?
Okay. So if it's HDPE, which is high density polyethylene, that's basically like a sheet of plastic that you can get at Menard. We get it at Menards here, hardware store. And I can call upon a CNC person to cut that out, because their machine will cut that out. So again, so that particular job, we took a photograph for the inspirations for the right and the left side. The right side was the Hastings Modern Bridge, and the left side was the Hastings old spiral bridge that doesn't exist anymore. But I'd give a photograph to my CNC guy, and he would do some tracing in his program, and then he could set that up so the machine would cut out the parts he wanted. Now, with each bridge, there's a metal piece involved. With the spiral bridge, that's an older bridge, I made the factory in the background out of 410 steel. That's a self-patinating steel that kind of rusts and then seals itself in, and it gives it kind of a rustic vibe. That's why I put it over on the spiral section. And then on the modern side, I had the river was made out of mirror polished stainless steel to give it a much more modern kind of vibe. So those two pieces were cut from a metal worker fabrication shop out of Superior, Wisconsin, I believe. So different machines, plasma cutters doing those versus the CNC for the any wood or HDPE cutouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's on the horizon when this project is wrapped up? And when will this project be wrapped up?
Yeah, I'm hoping this project will be in the next week. Like I said, we're just doing the bells and whistles, some trim and some lighting, and then we got to throw the rail up on the upper deck. This one will be done. It's been a really surprising year for me, where I'm probably booked out till November, which has never happened to me this early. And most of that happened in, I'd say, March, which again, it's never happened to me, to get booked up that quick, that far out. So that was great. It's a great year. We got a couple big ones, and a handful of not so big, but got a good mix of things going on. So I'm just gonna keep trucking on this year's schedule.
Any previews as to what one or more of those might feature?
One of them is perched up high on the St. Croix River bluff. Like, so they're actually in a state park, and so when they look out of the back of their house, the whole back of the house is picture windows, and there's the deck that's probably about 50 feet across, only 8 feet out. That's the upper deck, and there's also a lower deck. But we're going to do some glass railing there so that we still have that overlook of all the trees going down the river. It's still uninterrupted for vision. That's going to be a pretty big one with some nice glass rail.
Whose rail?
That's going to be IG rail.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's going to be. Go ahead.
Any reason why you chose IG rail for that?
The client wanted frameless glass, and they wanted multicolor functionality. And they're located here in town. The distribution is, and I know the guys, and it's just kind of a perfect storm to get that product out there. So I'm looking forward to working with the product and the guys that run it, and seeing it on that project for sure. Yeah.
And it'll just be the two of you guys working on that project, or are you gonna hire a separate crew to help you with it?
Yeah, no other crew. At the most, I would hire some younger kids for kind of doing a little bit more manual stuff, stuff that I don't really want to pay an older advanced carpenter to do when a 19-year-old could do it,
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I'm sure the older carpenter would much rather not do it anyhow. But there's a lot of carrying. There's a lot of manual labor that kind of needs to happen on every job. That if we can focus on the fine details that we need to take care of while other things are getting done, that's a good thing. So.
Well, it sounds like the rest of the year is shaping up pretty well for you.
Yeah.
How is
feel pretty good.
how's your marketing? I mean, when you have so much work ahead of you, do you still focus on your marketing side?
Well, so my marketing is sharing photographs, sharing things on social. That is all my marketing is. The other thing is I try really hard. I have 100% 5-star rating on Google, and that seems to be something that I know I take it pretty serious when I'm looking at products or whatever. What's the Google review? What's the Google star rating? So I really focus on getting those reviews and delivering 5-star experiences to my clients, so that I just keep racking those up, and that really puts confidence in when the clients are searching people out. So it's a mixture of Google reviews and then my socials, so kind of word of mouth, and then let's say someone sees someone, a deck builder near me or outdoor living near me, and I'm there, and they're impressed with 5-star ratings, so they dig a little deeper, and then they start looking at the socials, right? And so again, that's where the things that I post and the work that I put out there kind of, again, they all just kind of accumulate, magnify, that the client would feel safe going with me, trusting me for their kind of their vision, or having me having a vision for them. So that's my marketing.
Well, it seems to be working for you.
Yeah, I'm pleased. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So you
feel
excited about the rest of the year?
I am excited. Yeah, it's we had a week of 90, but now we're going to go into the week of maybe some 60s, which is going to be perfect weather. But all in all, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot of family vacations uh, and keep building.
Excellent. Well, before we wrap it up, we have a couple of quick questions, little rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Just whatever comes to mind. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Your favorite power tool?
Track saw.
Early riser or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Decaf or caffeinated?
Caffeinated works better.
A hidden talent outside of building. You mentioned music. Anything else?
Um, I can probably recite a lot of Star Trek facts.
A Trekkie.
Yeah, I named my first daughter, a Trekkie name.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
You are a fan.
Yeah, I named her Esri from DS9. So any Trekkies out there that watch DS9, Esri Dax, it's Esri.
That's fantastic. What's always in your truck?
What's always what?
What's always in your truck?
My lunch.
Fair enough. And what is your perfect Minnesota weekend when you're not building?
Having a fire. We have a couple acres, so having a fire, getting the neighbors over, playing some kickball with my kids and the neighbors, and roasting marshmallows, just hanging out with some family and just chilling.
Sounds fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It was great to catch up with you, see what you're doing, what you're working on, and
Yeah.
it sounds like the rest of the year is shaping up perfectly for you. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. Like I said, I'm honored to be on here, and yeah, it's nice to be able to share. So
Yeah, it's good to catch up.